It ain't a big deal. Y'all see my street. Y'all know where I live, so it is what it is. What's up, everybody? This is Edward back with another video. Anyway, this is actually gonna be quick. This is gonna be 10 minutes or so. It's not gonna be that long. I just wanted to give my thoughts. Shout out to Bernard Riley. All right, man. I gotta say this, and I gotta keep it 100. Um, David, like, here's the issue. I can be a passionate person, but I'm always passionate with control. I never just straight lose control. And when you don't have like your situational awareness around you to like recognize, you literally have people dropping off the panel because at this point a conversation is just cannot be had with you there. And they just don't want like that's the fact that you don't even understand that because you have so much tunnel vision on this point. I mean, motherfuckers will get so hung up on a point. And the reason why I kept coming back to the point is because honestly, like if David would have been removed from that conversation, the conversation would have and I'm not saying that's what happened, what should have happened, which is why I saw myself out. Shout out to Charles. No, I'm about to this ain't gonna be long. I'm gonna set this up because I may do a stream about it, maybe a weekend. It's not necessarily gonna be today. But the thing about it is that shit is a perfect example of what shouldn't happen. And I'm not gonna say what Bernard should have did or whatever. I'm not gonna say that. But what I will say is like motherfuckers gotta stop having tunnel vision like that. Like David is known for that. It's like goddamn. It's like like these dudes that they get so hung up on. I just can't mentally accept you not agreeing with something. That is what JB was low key talking about, and that's what I kept trying to highlight. And that's one of the reasons why it's vague when these dudes never bring up names because for the most part, it ain't a lot of content creators. What a lot of times it is people on panels they get like they find the religion, so they become extra with it. And they don't have this understanding where people gotta accept shit in their own time. And you just do. And this is where, oh, well, you're blue pill, you're this, you're that. Like Charles is in the chat. Charles didn't say he was blue pill. And then this is where you start saying, ooh, red pill, blue pill. Look, everything that I say comes from a sense of common sense. Fuck the pills. And that's why David automatically thought I was invalidating what he was saying. And it's like, nigga, you're way too emotional on this shit. And you're literally like fucking up the entire conversation. And it's not like, okay, you saying what you saying and you're gonna leave. What you're doing is you're there and you're making it all about you. And you don't even recognize that's what you're doing. And if you notice, JB pushed back the hardest against David because if you would have took David out the equation, then me and Charles would have been able to explain that shit more. And that is what a lot of these guys, because JB was right. A lot of these, look, it doesn't matter what you believe. If people want to believe the shit they want to believe, that's on them because that's between them and their life. So I don't really care if you believe what it is or not. You know, the big problem with black folks is black folks say they want an answer or a solution. Then when you give them a solution, as SWP said, they don't want to do it. So the reality is it's not that there's no solution, it's that you don't want to do it. And kudos to JB. Now, this idea of intent, that's really what I wanted to talk about, but I had to comment on that. Because that's what people see. This is why I'm not big on the fuckery. Because when motherfuckers like to talk about the red pill, that's what they like to lean on, is the fuckery. This is why I jump on the audience that likes to jump in the fuckery. And this is why a lot of dudes try to separate their channels from the manosphere because it's too much, okay, you got to be loyal to the bullshit. And so you got a lot of panelists on here and they'll come on here and they'll be extra with the shit, extra emotional, extra high strung. And I'm passionate, but I am not emotional. And it's like they can't actually have a conversation. That shit needs to stop. And David's known for that. And I wasn't really paying attention who was on the panel. And I haven't talked to David in a minute, but that's why I stopped like really wanting to be on panels with David, because he gets like that when it comes to a lot of this political shit. These niggas just get on another pill, on another level. And it's like, dude, you're not understanding. At the end of the day, you do represent what you're talking about. And it's one thing to get fired up every now and then. I get that. But when it's like you're known for every time you get on, you're doing that, that's a problem. And this is why a lot of times when people talk about, well, red pill this, I'm like, look, man, I don't give a fuck about red pill like that. As far as, to me, it's a brand. It's there in order to, like, so we can understand where people are at. It's a device, a mental device for that purpose. But the truth is, everything I say is rooted in common sense. It just is. That's why I have no problem talking to anybody about it. It's rooted in common sense. And I'm not saying everything I say is law, but it's rooted in common sense. So beat it. And either my common sense is faulty, or you just don't want to acknowledge the shit. You want to live in your own delusion. Now, as far as what JB was talking about, JB kept on talking about intent. And David was correct by bringing up racism. Like, it's crazy. Like, you literally have white people that would literally try to challenge the intent of the older whites. They'll say, oh, that's just the time that they're from, or some shit like that. You have that today, where people will literally try to do that, where they'll try to say, nobody really talks about the fact that we were bred. And now in certain schools like Texas, you got people talking about we were indentured servants. They're trying to rewrite history. And they look for guys. And look, I'm not saying JV is necessarily blue pill. I'm not saying he has to understand that. But the problem is, when you start with your mother, that's an issue. Because you're using your mother as a measure of looking at all black women. And so if it was the opposite, I would say the same thing. Well, you can't look at your mother as, if your mother abused you, you can't say, well, all black women abuse their sons because your mother did. It works both ways. It's not about me trying to make the argument. So by your mother being a reference point, and you say, you said up front, maybe you're biased. No, you are biased. And you're leaning on this idea that because nobody's ever proven to you, substantiated it. Because let's be clear here. You clearly listen to people that you don't believe, they can't substantiate shit. Because I can tell you, if you went to BGS's shit, we bring up facts, receipts, books from multiple decades from back in the past to substantiate a lot of what goes on. We do substantiate the intent. And BGS talks about his own daughters as far as intent. And see, a lot of this stuff, the problem is, there's a reason why there's first degree murder, second degree murder, manslaughter. Because what really JB is talking about is premeditation. That's what he's really talking about. And he's talking about, he wants, you can't prove there's like this overarching plan. But that's not how racism works today. The algorithm is what it's supposed to do it, so you can take the intent behind it away from it. That's how this gynocracy works. And what I'm telling you is, what me and Charles can definitely prove to you is women are on code. Kevin has proved to you on that show. Women are on code. And this idea that women don't know what they do, that's some shit that men say because you all can't accept shit. That's cool. But that's some shit you tell yourselves. That's all that is. Because I promise you, when it comes to men, this is how you know that's bullshit. When it comes to men, it's almost like saying, well, white men are racist and white women, they just don't know what they do. Well, you see Karens. When it comes to men, it's interesting how with men never get that pass. You wouldn't even think of men saying, oh, well, these men don't know what they do. You don't even hear that shit, really. Men are always accountable to what they do. But a lot of men just cannot truly hold women accountable. If you're, like Charles said too, if you got a son and a daughter in the same household and your daughter for some reason can read better than your son, Does intent matter? No, but it may not be conscious intent. Remember, in the Matrix, what they said was it's a choice, even on the subconscious level. Like BGS's daughter is a perfect example when he talks about that in relation to his grandson. I don't believe that she's just saying, I'm not going to teach my son to read because fuck that little nigga. That's not, nobody's saying that's what's going on. But you got to ask yourself, why does BGS have to coach? She chose to have that kid. She chose the man she chose to have that kid with. You got to then ask yourself, why is it that she has these feelings of procrastination when she's educated when it comes to her son? I'm just using that as an example. You got to ask yourself why black women, to make it fair, to take it away from his daughter, because I respect that he mentioned that. Why do black women don't intend on having a baby by a nigga that they know ain't gonna be shit, to then turn around and ask another nigga they didn't choose either. But it's still an outcome. It's like it's a level deeper than intention. See, a lot of folks like to buy in a certain programming and then not be accountable for what they do. It's kind of like people that, let's say they work a 9 to 5 all their life and then they don't get wealthy, and they try to blame the system, even though entrepreneurship was that. And then they say, well, I didn't learn that in school, but you knew this was out here and this was a way to make money. So you chose to invest in something else. You chose to put your faith in this algorithm. And now you're mad, but you chose it. And so we like to give women these outs. And so it's like, well, I just can't. And I get it. That's a bridge too far. I remember when Platinum called me straight up gay. I said, you gotta stop looking at your mother like a god. And Platinum said, nigga, are you gay? That nigga said that like a sneeze. That's how visceral of a reaction that was. So I understand it. It's just like even when Bernard pushes back on me when it comes to the gynocracy. He pushes back on the same pretension. And I said, a lot of y'all don't want to really see. Some of y'all are just not capable of seeing it that way. And I understand that. But that doesn't mean it's not there. One of the things about the United States of America that's very powerful, the United States of America knows how to not give you enough kinetic energy for the human mind to actually accept something as a threat. Like a lot of y'all, like just like how Smurgo and them were talking to me about how on my channel about women, they were letting women hit them and they didn't believe it was a threat until these motherfuckers got weapons and started hitting their ass with those and they almost died. Because that's when the human mind body is gonna register as a threat. But their social views said, oh, it's a woman, she can't do damage. Because they never accounted for the fact that it can escalate. So I don't have this thing that, I need people to believe me, because that's one of the pushbacks that people get to the red pill, and dudes get zealot like, well, you got to believe what I believe. I'm not like that. I understand people are going to have to learn shit on their own time. I'm going to say what the fuck I'm going to say, but people got to learn on their own time. I don't even get that way with women. This is why I tend to frame the argument in reference to outcomes. I always frame the argument in reference to outcomes, because at the end of the day, the manosphere doesn't have a point. If black women were perfectly happy with their outcomes, hold on one second. Outcomes. And then you got people, and this is another reason why the fuckery needs to stop, because a lot of audience members like the fuckery. This is why I chastise y'all about the fuckery a lot of times, because y'all will sit here and think that shit is cute. And then what happens is, not a whole everybody in the manosphere or red pill, I understand the power of branding. And, all of that is associated with that. That's why when dude brought up Anton, because personally, I haven't heard Anton really say shit about the manosphere, but I could definitely believe he believes that. But at the same time, when you look at how he treated Chicago Rilla, he's not a nigga that's above the fuckery either. He just like to do it like passive aggressive a little bit. So a lot of these folks, when they talk about people won't share their face and shit like that, well, Anton is an entrepreneur. So Anton doesn't work for nobody. When you look at what JB had to deal with getting called into his office and shit, that's some very real shit. And so, but see, again, going to Mike Rashid, he'll talk about you not oppressed. But apparently you can't even have an opinion on social media like that. And you got people literally hunting for your account. You got motherfuckers literally looking at your account, meaning they're listening to it and then tracing that like that. Like, you got to think of how much effort that takes to do that shit. That is some real, but then, oh, we can't question their intent, right? Like, the thing about it is, we interact with women in the workplace. We interact, like, this idea of, well, you can't prove intent. That's some shit that people want to tell themselves, because that's the last little thing they can really hold on to. What do you think the intent behind feminism is now? Like, are you serious? I think feminism, the goal of feminism is for women to basically have their cake and eat it too and never be questioned for anything, for them to have extraordinary rights. It has nothing to do with fairness. Maybe at one point it did, but right now it doesn't. And it hasn't for a long time. But then it's like intent. If you can't, like, the fact is, if you can't assess intent for women, you can't assess intent for men. But you notice how the society is much more easier to hold men accountable. Like, for instance, accountable and apply intent on the men than it is women. How are women that different? Are you really telling me that you believe that women are that inherently good? Like, seriously. And if I would have had JB one-on-one, there's a series of questions I would have asked him. One, do you believe men are inherently good? Do you believe masculinity is inherently good? Do you believe feminism is inherently good? Because I would want to establish certain baselines to really look and apply kind of some of what he was saying with that intent to other things. But see, I didn't get the opportunity to do that because you got David in there wanting to hold on to, he wants to brute force shit. And another thing he was saying was, well, the problem with the manosphere is, people are going to associate what they... Look, man, I'm going to keep it all the way 100. I don't give a shit if people believe in the red pill or the manosphere or not. I really don't care. Because, and I'm going to tell you why I don't care. I don't care because the environment... Look, you'll either be corrected by learning and getting ahead of the curve, or you'll be corrected when the environment comes at your ass and you like, oh, fuck. Either way is going to happen. This is not some shit that I needed to happen. Like, at the end, just like how motherfuckers would be like, well, women intent is honestly good. Women don't have bad intent until Me Too gets in your ass in the workplace. Then they figured it out real quick what can happen. Again, like, if you're, the environment is out there. Like, shout out to BGS. BGS talking about pussy's gonna be less than the price of coffee. Like, this shit just did not happen. This shit just did not happen. And so when people say, and so it's deeper than just, oh, nobody's saying that women just sign on the dotted line saying they're gonna fuck up their sons. But and David Carroll has talked about this. When black women said they don't need a man to raise a child, they don't need a man to raise a boy into a man, that is all the intent you need to know. And they repeat it every day when they say, I'm strong and independent and I don't need no man. They say it every day when they call a black woman a pick-me. I've said that when black women call other black women pick-me's, that is equivalent to a white man calling a white woman a nigger lover. That is clear declaration of what their intent is. Now, some women will say, or some people will say that, well, you don't know what their intent is. Then the way you deal with that bullshit, what is their intent? And don't give me they're just operating on programming. Fuck that shit. Chris Brown said that. I saw abuse, so that's why I hit Rihanna. And motherfuckers aren't going to give a fuck about that. What is the intent then? When you call a black woman a pick me, what is the intent? What, like, well, they're just talking about women that basically simp for men. Women don't have to simp for men. Women just got to open their legs and say free dick. Black women have to compete for their men less than any other race for of women for their men. So that's bullshit. The concept of a black female simp is really a myth. There's not a female out here talk like cause I'll prove it. Niggas will fuck the ugliest, fattest bitches out here. You got ugly ass, you got twos that got kids. So all a woman has to do is open her legs. Now we're gonna talk about a pick me. We're gonna talk about like women competing for the highest guys. That's not the same thing. So it's not the same thing when people sit here and say like men have to fight for sexual access. Women don't have to because they control it. So this idea that this woman that is just telling men whatever they want and being a doormat, because that's that doormat shit. That shit is not true. There are very few black women that are doormats. Like, I mean, that's statistically insignificant. And then you got to also look at what a lot of you got black women that they like. Shout out to talk about the Six Goddess. Six Goddess obviously has a lot of things I don't agree with, but Six Goddess she likes the type of men she likes that are black, right? But there's people that will call her a pick-me. Danica has talked about being called a pick-me. So the thing is, if you don't hate black men on some soft racist shit, you're a pick-me. That's why I say that. Now, nobody else is really saying that but me. I'm the first person you've heard that from. But that's exactly how black women mean it when they say it. Because you can read intent based on actions and understanding. But see, a lot of dudes don't want to do that because what they don't want to do is they don't want to draw. There's certain conclusions that they just don't want to draw. So they'll hold on to these ideas about intent. The reality is, if you look at the black men today, and they are the result of being reared, as David Carroll would say, by black women. They made a conscious decision to not have men in their homes, which is unlike other generations before them, like the silent generation. Kevin talks about this. BGS talks about this. Now, a lot of these mentalities were there, but the fact that black women, as soon as they got the opportunity to do that with that village wife or matriarchal mating pattern, did the government subsidize that they ran with it? To the point where you went from 85% the most married to the least married and most divorced? That tells you everything you need to know about intention, unless you're in denial. And so the real question is, do black women raise their sons to fail? Yes, they do. And I can make the argument that at least 50% do. And I can at least 70% do. And you can start it off by who you choose as the father. One of the biggest, all the stats point to having a father in the home is one of the biggest factors in a child being successful. So if you choose a man not based on fatherhood, but based on everything else, that says you have selfish intent and you're setting your kids up to fail from the start. Now, because you are putting yourself above your family, you're putting yourself above your children. Because that man is a necessary component. That man is not a guy. That man is not some spark plug. That man is a damn transmission. And it's not only one of the most expensive things to fix. It's you can replace an engine before you replace a transmission. I would argue transmissions and catalytic converters are some of the hardest shit to deal with. Because the engine, you can get another engine. You can't really get another transmission. And with a lot of these, Georgia boy, that's some emotional bullshit. And really shut the fuck up with that shit. Like, for real. Because honestly, I love my mom, but at the same time, I know I can accept the good and the bad from my mom. So I don't look at my mom through these goddess eyeglasses. I'm really not in the fucking mood for your little, for your fucking contrarian bullshit. I'm really not. Because at the end of the fucking day, the fact that you can look at the black community as a whole and then see that black men get front loaded, and shout out to BGS for talking about black women are gaining power at least to 10% when it comes into politics, and ain't shit being done, and you see not only the state of black boys, but you see the state of these black girls and what these women are doing, knowing that black women have had basically carte blanche to do what they want to in the community. I mean, shit, fuck all that. You want to talk about black women are goddesses? Okay. Black mothers are goddesses? Okay, explain to me 6% of the population, but the highest abortion rate by count. So black women got by count more abortions than any other group, yet they're only 6% of the population. Like, get the fuck out your feelings, nigga. Like, I'm sorry that some of you niggas can't really look at this shit from a straight logical perspective and really just see the cards for what it is. And y'all can't do that without having this, oh, I hate this. It's just like with white people. I don't have to hate white people in order to see shit for what it is. I can look at racism. I can look at black people who have been bred. I can look at all of that. Just like I don't hate Africans, knowing that Africans were in on slavery a lot more than what they talk about. I'm sorry that some of you motherfuckers are not emotionally y'all are not emotionally squared enough that y'all can't look at history. I've always loved history. Y'all can't be objective about shit. I'm sorry that some shit gets too close to home for y'all and y'all just need to believe in the fucking fairy tale. I'm sorry. And I'm going to tell you, I see a lot of you niggas is mentally weak for that. Like, for real. Because the thing is, if there was a way to fix the fucking community without addressing this shit, motherfuckers would have found it by now. So a lot of you niggas, to a certain extent, accept it the way it is because a lot of y'all are too fucking weak to look at some shit. It's like y'all don't want to look at Pandora's box and y'all don't really want to do the real work. And so y'all try to say, oh, well, you're a zealot. You're a bad guy. Nigga, I'm not ashamed to say my mom got 3 kids by 3 different men. I'm not ashamed because guess what? She's got, none of us have kids. And 2, and basically we date black women. And my middle brother is in a relationship and probably will get married to his black girlfriend. The question is, are you repeating the bullshit? That's where is the change happening. I'm not afraid to say I'm the oldest, and my mom had at least 3 abortions. All my brothers got different names. And only my middle brother actually reflects the fathers. My youngest, I mean. Me and my brother, I have the name of my maternal grandmother who I never met because she died. So I only know my step grandmother, who my mom hates, by the way, which is my grandfather remarried. And then my middle brother has the family last name Baker. I'm not afraid to say this. I don't look at this with shame, guilt, and all this bullshit. And technically, my family come from money. Technically. So a lot of y'all, it's that y'all do, like, I'm going to tell you what I fucking can't stand. One of the reasons why we dealt with what we dealt with is because a lot of black people have this tendency to want to take stuff and sweep it under the rug. They have this tendency to want to lie about stuff. People did this during the crack era, where we're literally the generation outside the crack era, and people lied. Xers and silent generation lied, and a lot of the cracked out stuff we deal with today as a group, millennials, is a direct reflection of things that they chose to not say. And they chose to lie because of shame. And I'm the type of person, I don't care if shame kills you. The truth will be told. And if there's going to be some bodies because so many of y'all are mentally fucking weak to fucking look the truth in the eye, then so be it. So be it. That's I cracking eggs. I really don't care. So when people tell me shit like for instance, one person told me one time that Kevin doing what he did with that woman saying black women don't belong to black men, That stuff was enough to make somebody go suicidal. I was like, you know what? Then they don't need to be on social media because that they don't really need to be on this bitch then. They really don't, because that means their mental health is not there and they really need to be on medication. But that's not my responsibility to basically lie to motherfuckers just for their convenience. This is a harsh world. You live in a first world country. And I look at people that deal in the third world and I've seen what real poverty looks like. So I'm sorry, I don't really have a lot of sympathy for people that were born in the first world and then words affect them to that extent. I just don't. That's really my personal feelings on the matter. It really is. So when I hear motherfuckers talk about, well, you hate this, you hate that, I don't give a fuck about what experience you live. I'm gonna tell you how I see this. I see this like dudes that come from money. And if black people talk about black poverty, it's like y'all invalidate that because you come from money. And we know what we would call somebody like that. Black people would shame the shit out of somebody like that, saying, stay away from me. Hold on. They would shame the shit out. They would never accept that. Somebody trying to tell them about themselves. And it's like, nigga, you got a silver spoon in your mouth. How dare you speak to me? I almost gotta go. But it'd be like, how dare you speak to me about what I've been through? And I haven't been through anything personally, not like that. But I'm saying, like, in that situation, it doesn't matter if I have intent to help them. And that's what a lot of black conservatives don't understand. This is why I was trying to tell Gabe as far as with the Love Dorsey shit. People want to be seen, people want to be heard, and people want to be acknowledged. And then they may be open to you telling them some stuff. I've learned this in marketing. And if you want to deal with certain people, you got to meet them where they are. I'm not the biggest fan of Forex. I'm not the biggest fan of crypto. But when I want to sell things to black men, that's where they are. So I'm not going to tell them, well, you need to do this. No, I'm going to meet them where they are and say, this is how I can help you get to where you need to go. I will talk about affiliate marketing from a perspective of being able to give you more money to invest in what you want to invest in, because it takes money to make money. That's how you do that. Or if I'm dealing with a certain market, I will point to somebody like Love Dorsey because she talks about business and stuff, and it lets it know somebody can look like this and still be successful. Shout out to Runway Billionaire. Shout out to Marshawn Lynch. I don't sit here and say you got to have a shaved buzz cut and you got to be a square. I don't do that because you're going to get resistance. And it's the same thing here. But at the same time, what I will not do is I will not tell folks stuff that ain't true. A lot of black people can't handle that they've been bred. So what they do, they talk about we really Native Americans. And they lied to us. Because they can't accept psychologically that you were bred. You are created. They can't accept that. It doesn't matter how much facts, books. I mean, even Tarita Sheet and Hit a Color showed that. It doesn't matter. They don't want to believe it. And so, you put the truth out there. Now, I'm not invested in the truth. My goal is to reinforce the truth and make sure the truth is accurate as possible. My goal is not to force something down your throat. And then eventually people either come to it or they don't. But they can't say they didn't know and nobody never said anything. I mean, niggas be out here, oh, well, I'm not against y'all. It's just everything y'all say I don't agree with. Or I just don't like you do this and do that. I'm the king of giving references to other people. Motherfuckers talk about, y'all don't talk about marriage enough. Shout out to www.blackandmarriedwithkids.com. Ain't nobody talk about that but me. Y'all ain't really providing solutions. I always mention Alan Roger Curry's book or talk about Erica Shauna Williams or Glendon Cameron. I'm always talking about that. I'm always talking about solutions or people that can give you solutions at a great value. Y'all don't want that. What y'all want is somebody to basically give you a narrative. Y'all want somebody to tell you, oh, there's hope. Oh, it's going to be all right. It ain't that bad. Don't believe your lying eyes. Oh, we all love each other. It's just a misunderstanding. They don't know what they do. That's some childish shit, man. That's like me. You want me to tell you about the fucking tooth fairy? You want me to tell you about Santa Claus? You want me to tell you about the talking snake? Hell, I didn't know Bernard was walking at the door to be an atheist. I'm very shocked. I was not shocked, but I'm very impressed that Bernard was that candid about that. But you got black Christians that shout out to Sub-Zero 3639, who's a very staunch Christian, who did an interview with Bernard. I've had arguments with Sub-Zero about religion. I'm what you call a cultural Christian. So I don't sit, but I never was so fundamentalist about the Bible. I always knew the Bible was a political document, that there were books were missing out of it, and I've been to Bible camp. So I've never had to red pill rage, because I've always seen the world through a clear eye. And that's not because I'm smarter than anybody. One thing about me being short is I don't get the benefit of being blue pill. Motherfuckers are gonna tell me real quick. So I understand clearly where it stood. Oh my God. That's why I can tell you, being short is not necessarily like, there's a lot of black women that you can date that are attractive that you like. You're just gonna have to be able to accept that people will just remove you based on that attribute, and that be okay. Which it is okay. The problem is not that black women choose what they choose, like people like to say. The problem is that black women will sit there and lie about it. They lie about the fact that it's not that motherfuckers are gaming their ass up and just taking the pussy. It really is they're going out of their way to find certain type of niggas, and then when life gets too hard, they want somebody to bail them out. The problem is not that black women are doing the best they can, and it's these niggas that don't want to be with their kids. They're skipping over niggas that actually do propose to them to want to marry them because they want to still be in these streets. And they say it out their own mouth. You don't have to believe me. Fuck me. All you got to do is go to Kevin Samuels' videos and listen to them and hear it out of their fucking mouth. That's the beauty of it. You can believe everything I'm saying is bullshit. Just listen to them. Listen to them. They're not being incentivized to call. They till this day. Kevin is 30 away from 1 million subs. They still call in, and they still look at the bondage shit. Oh man, it ain't that black women like bondage. And is this all black women? No, but we don't say all with anything, but we do say most. And you can tell with the pushback. If a black woman, they ran Yvonne Van Zam off the air. Yvonne Van Zam was talking about, Yvonne Van Zam was the original one talking about the mother shit on air. She would talk about black girls and black women to their mothers, talking about this man abused me. And I told you, and you didn't say shit. And the only answer she had was, well, it's because that's how I was raised. Bullshit. A man doesn't get to say that. A father doesn't get to say that. Father doesn't get to say, I didn't protect my family because I wasn't protected. You don't get to say that. And so this is not really about, trying to overblame women. This is really about treating women like the fucking adults they are. And we used to do that in the black community. We don't do that anymore. And that's the issue. And you got dudes where they are real. Y'all are way too fucking covered. Like my thing, Georgia boys, why don't you and it's all wasn't about you, but I'm just saying, you won't take your ass over there with them bitches talking about abort black babies and talk about they being harsh. Why do you niggas not go on them to them bitches where they saying some god awful shit? Why do you feel comfortable being over here? Because you know what'll happen. They'll block your fucking ass. They won't even address it. They gonna say you a nigga too. It don't matter. Bye. Like all you gotta do. Oh, listen, fuck what I'm saying. Listen to what they saying out their mouth, because that's what we didn't have before. That's why they didn't want to talk to us, because they're gonna tell the truth. Y'all are really out here like, well, y'all are being too harsh. And the truth is, this is by the way, why motherfuckers say fuck black people. Fuck the black community. Because y'all not serious. You know what? I'm about to get my money. I'm about to lie to these motherfuckers, because at the end of the day, they want to be told a story. So I'm gonna tell the story and I'm gonna get paid to tell it. My bad, that I'm missing y'all super chats. Shout out to Travis Wiley, Cognitive Dissidence. Shout out to Aisa, Hey Ed, people that contribute to this gyno are just as blind to it, just like that part in the Invincible with the right room. Exactly. And then what happens is people try to make us look zealot. The problem is a lot of y'all want to believe the world as it is, and y'all are actually the main reason why nothing changes. What did they say? The devil wins when good men do nothing. And the reality is, y'all talk about, well, why don't we do this? We don't do shit because you all are comfortable with the world as it is. That's the truth. And that's what none of y'all really want to talk about. That's why I keep saying, and I'm not even trying to talk about Georgia Boy personally because he's in a good situation. Kudos to you. But for all of y'all other niggas, if y'all want to be cucks, go ahead and be cucks. Live your truth. But stop struggling. Go ahead and be what you want to be. Because clearly you're never gonna come out the programming. Do what y'all want to do. I don't care. Be submissive husbands. Or don't. Do what you want to do. But don't be up in this bitch listening and then y'all want to just challenge what the fuck we saying on some, well, I have an emotional disagreement because I think you all, no, nigga, be a stepfather and be happy. Be happy with a nigga telling you you ain't my daddy. Be happy. Do what you like, and that's what I'm gonna start telling people. I don't care what you do personally. People be out here, well, getting married. Then get married if you think it's a beautiful thing. And if you think it's just a matter of who you pick, do what you want to do. I don't know why you need my permission. I'm just a nigga on YouTube. The fuck what I say matters. All you gotta do is turn me off. Well, Archer, leave. That's not like. Let's not get personal. I'm sure. And I'm not saying this to be sarcastic. I mean this. I'm sure Joy Boy has talked about his wife. I'm sure his wife is nice and attractive. I'm confident in that, especially hearing some of what he said about his history. I'm confident in that. So again, that's another thing too. I'm not really attacking Georgia Boy. I'm speaking to the consistency that he always has to disagree with what we say. See, that's another thing, y'all. Shout out to Archer, but that's another thing y'all got to stop doing. Y'all got to stop like trying to really get personal with y'all got to start keeping it on the points. Because that's another thing that y'all don't do. And Archer, like, I get it, but y'all don't do us a service when y'all do that. A lot of y'all make it like y'all want to attack people. I'm not attacking him, and I mean that. I'm not just saying that. I do believe our Georgia Boy has an attractive wife. I don't need to see his IG to see that. See, Georgia Boy is the type of person. Georgia Boy ain't no fool. He may talk that shit as far as not liking us saying shit, but when it comes to his personal shit, he ain't no idiot. And that's another thing. There's a couple of y'all where y'all not no fool when it comes to y'all personal situation. Y'all just don't like hearing black men just constantly like just go 100%. So y'all really, and see, that's another thing too, because Archer, y'all don't do the quote unquote red pill a service by doing that. Because when y'all belittling stuff, it don't matter if you believe you're right. Because what it sees is like, okay, we can't stick to the points. And I'm not even talking about the credit. Don't even get me started about. And luckily, my mom didn't do that to me. But trust me, I know women that fuck their kids' credit up. And I'm gonna keep it real. A lot of black women fuck up their daughters too, in a lot of different ways. They just code up and don't say shit. So my point is, everybody want to make it like single mothers are being beat up. No, the problem is we can't have a candid conversation about nothing. So what happens is motherfuckers want to sit there and cover shit up. That's the issue. So they want to make motherfuckers sound like they crazy. If y'all acknowledged a lot of what goes on, a lot of these guys, see, y'all want to talk about red pill rage. One thing about red pill rage, nobody wants to acknowledge. If you acknowledged a lot of the shit that happens, a lot of folks wouldn't have red pill rage as long as they do. And a lot of y'all want to basically say motherfuckers are not seeing their lying eyes, and then motherfuckers get deeper and deeper into it because what they're seeing is that it's kind of like what was that the Truman Show, when Truman realized he was in a virtual universe, or he was in a universe. Fuck the Matrix. The Truman Show came out before that, and then he realized he was in a TV show, and then when he finally tried to get out, everything, like the closer he got to the wall, the crazier shit got, the more obstacle they were putting into it, a rainstorm and all that. Since everybody act like we keep talking about the Matrix, he was trying to get out. And my problem, and I don't believe that everybody that has a wife is, that's not what I'm saying. And a lot of y'all take some of that shit too far, because it's like y'all need people to agree with you. I don't need somebody to agree with me, but at the same time, when I know I'm saying some real shit and everybody just want to disagree just for the sake of disagreeing, that's a problem. And then what people are doing is they believe that they're protecting. It's like y'all think y'all are protecting the community. No, you're not. You're not protecting the community by doing that. Y'all are keeping the community frozen. And in the meantime, Asians are gaining population, Hispanics are gaining population, niggas are being gentrified. And then you're gonna have black people 10 years from now talk about, oh Lord, how did we wind up like this? How did we wind up like this? And then I'm gonna start slapping motherfuckers at that point. That's how black people are. When shit is coming up, they deny it, and when it's in the rear view, and now it's up in your ass, how did we wind up like this? How did this happen? But y'all gotta stop that like personal attacks. I attack points. I don't attack people. I do the best I can, and that's one thing about what we do here that we do need to get better at. Anyway. No, dude, because I be addressing your opinions and you just be like, fuck that, I'm a believe. So it is what it is. But anyway, I gotta go, y'all. Like, so I gave y'all a good stream. Make sure y'all hit me on the Cash App. And like I said, I did a whole video with Queen and shit. Y'all seen me disagree with Obsidian. So that don't be like, oh, well, I agree with, I don't. So with that being said, hold on. This is shout out to Ryan Ryan with the $5 Cash App. Much appreciated. And with that being said, this is Edward signing off. Peace.